Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Trading Room. I'm Shane Vernier, and this is the U.S. mid-session brief. Today, we're going to have a Monday strategy scan and market scan. I think that we're going to be in for some pretty good trading today. I've got a question that's sort of persistent. It's one that I've gotten a lot lately, and it's about where to download our tools here on the website, our EAs, specifically our risk management tool, our support and resistance tool. A lot of folks are still working through that. What was a triple screen trader that we did about 18 months ago or so. It's a nice approach to the markets. It's not the end-all, be-all, but it's a pretty good way to get started in the market with some structure, and you need to know where to download those EAs. So I'm going to go ahead and run over that real quick. We've also got a 5813 Euro USD buy on the 30-minute time frame. That's fantastic. One of my favorite time frames is the 30-minute. I love the 4-hour and the 30-minute on Forex pairs. Now, if you're going to trade Forex pairs and a 30-minute chart, or say a 5 or a 1 or whatever you want to do with it, I highly recommend really targeting that London-U.S. overlap. I think that's very important that we trade those things when we're at maximum liquidity and when the market's actually moving. So we've got a lot on tap this week. We've got CPI Live. We put out a new little short on YouTube. If you guys check that out, gives you all the details. We'll be here 8:20 a.m. Eastern. On Wednesday, we're going to trade that thing live. We're going to run a few strategies too. And then we've got another 10-minute trading blitz on Wednesday. I got a lot of great feedback on that last one we did where we were trading 15-second NQ charts. I know a lot of you like that type of thing, but I'll tell you what, it's risky. It's risky. So good to see everybody back in the room. Laudable Crab, new name. Good to see you, Laudable. Desi Fun. T Marina, always a pleasure. T Marina, Bobby Bob. Good to see you, Bobby Bob. Mark Corp. Hi, Shane. I had some distractions over the past week or so I missed some streams. All fixed now and ready to go. It's okay. We're on demand 24/7, 365, and that's one of those things that even if you miss, the only guy that can't be late here is me. If I'm late, then we got a problem, but we try to run on time as much as we possibly can. Let's go ahead and get out to price action, and then I'm going to show you exactly where to download our EA tools. All right, so this is a good look at our 5813 strategy. I've got kicking around a couple video ideas to really what we're going to build next. We've got an opening range breakout that we're going to drop on YouTube Friday. That's a pretty good strategy. If you like strategies, don't miss that on the How to Trade YouTube channel. Put a lot of work into that video, and it shows you how to trade maybe the opening range of the U.S. session and give you something that, I've actually done quite a bit of breakout trading right after the U.S. Open. But we're looking at this 5813. I think it's an incredible strategy. I'm really seeing some really great action on it. I haven't heard anybody really hate it just yet, and we've got into a lot of really profitable trades. This is another one. Right here you can see sort of during that, I would say shortly after the the London Open, we got a major dive in the Euro USD 30-minute chart. This 30-minute time frame, bang, nice big sell-off. And what that did was that took us into oversold territory on the RSI. We were beneath 30. What does that mean? It means we're looking for a buy signal to get into the market. Well, what's our buy signal with a 5813? Well, the video's not out yet, so I don't expect anybody really to know. But the 5 crosses over the 8. Price has to be all the way above the 13 as well. 13's your anchor. Don't forget about your 13. And we got that trade here right there. We were in oversold territory, so we're looking to buy. We're looking to buy. Our 5, our red moving average is our 5. Our 5 crosses over our 8. It's not good enough just yet, but right there, that would have been your bid. Now, our price location here is not the best because I put it on after the fact, but right there, right around 6 a.m., 6 a.m. this morning, my time, 8 a.m. Eastern, that was your entry. And look what happened. You took some heat. You took some major heat. Well, where would your stop have been? Swing lows. Swing lows are key. You could have put your stop loss right there. You could have played it even tighter right there on this swing low, and you're still long this market. It's not too bad. We got a little bit of a bullish bump, still very much in bullish territory here on this 5813 trade. We're going to break down exactly how to trade that, maybe even come up with a few live examples that we can show you on the video. I don't know when that's going to drop, though, probably a couple weeks, but we are going to be trading the 5813 more and more in the room. This will be a live Euro USD trade that I have right now on the 30-minute chart. These are demo dollars, demo dollars. I don't want anybody to get confused. We are going to be trading some real money, and that's coming very, very soon. But as far as right now goes, those are demo dollars, so don't get confused about size. Don't try to mirror those types of trades. Given the size, you always got to remember your own account and what you can actually do with your own money. But that's a trade that I wanted to start off with. We're going to go over a lot of trade ideas here, and we're going to look at a lot of markets. So good to see everybody back. Lita, always a pleasure, Lita. I hope you're doing well. No, I'm confident you're doing well. I'm confident everybody's doing well. Hopes for children and those that can't seem to make any money. We call them hopes for children and losers. That's the saying. Word loser's a little bit negative, but it's the honest to God truth. All right, everybody, I'm going to show you a quick tutorial on how you can download the EA tools on the website. I want to go over this because it's been a pretty good question that I've got probably 5 to 10 times over the last few days, and the latest person was asking about it just a few minutes ago. very quickly, if you're already inside the trading room, and if you're watching this live stream and you're at howtotrade.com, then you're probably inside the trading room. That would be my guess. What I would say, now listen, there are some different versions to this. If you're on mobile, perhaps you don't have all the functionality. This is the web-based version, the one that I have access to, the one that most folks have access to. If you don't see what I see, contact our live support team right on the front of the website. You click live support, send in your request. They will help you. All right, in any case, right here, this is how you do it. You go right into our trading room. Right there on your left column, we've got some brokers, some really related partner broker switch markets. Don't forget about them. And then right here, education, that would be our academy. And then you also see we're getting ready potentially to launch another competition here in the near future. Keep checking back with me there. There's your streams. You click on streams. That's what we want right there for our EAs. Support and resistance EA was the one that I was asked about. You're going to go ahead and give tools a click. All right, and you see the live chat sort of pops up. So what do you have right here? You've got analysis, you've got all the heat maps and all that stuff. What we want is automation. You click on automation right there, and you go right down, and there's all your downloads. There's your downloads. EA Risk Manager, which we're going to talk about a little bit later this week. We had a trader in the room said, Shane, I need you to run through the risk management on MT4, MT5. I'm going to try to schedule that for later this week. If I forget, remind me. You know who you are. Naked Trading, that's a strategy here where it identifies pin bars and engulfers and things. Momentum Meter, Pattern Finder. You got all these different EAs, Profit Simulator, Support and Resistance. That's sort of what we're looking at there. That's where you find the downloads. All right, that's where you find the downloads. Now, as far as one of the things that I hit on a lot, I get to ask this a lot too as well. Shane, are you a signal provider? I'm not a signal provider. I put out actionable trade ideas that you guys can get in on, and that's where you find them. You click on that market analysis, and then you have the analytics thread, and that's where all the trade ideas are. Conversely, you could also just go up and click on my picture, follow me, and then the trade ideas will be beamed out right to your email, So if you don't want to go to the analytics thread every day, go up here, click, give it a follow. Just go bang, bang. This is a different account I have, but you just click on my picture, follow, and then what'll happen there is your analytics will be just drilled right in to your what would that be? Your email inbox each and every day. All right, that's enough of that stuff. I hope that helped. If it didn't help, just go ahead and send me an email, and we'll see if we can go further from there with your questions. So I hope that helped. Okay, let me see, John. Hey, I don't have the icons on the left. If you don't have the icons on the left, contact our live support team, John. Fantastic question. I get that one a lot. Contact our live support team. They will help you. They will tell you where to get those downloads or where to access them within the trading room. On the face of the website, there's a resources tab. Those downloads are not there. You have to go inside of the trading room to find them. Contact our live support team. All right. Okay, let's get cracking with our market analysis and our strategy session. This was a trade idea that we put out a little bit. We didn't put it out a little bit earlier today. This was out last week, and this is one that did us very well. I mean, this was a situation where we were looking to sell the Kiwi, the NZD USD beneath last year's low. I guess it's weird saying that 2024's low. We wanted to sell that thing, and our profit target was right down there at 55, 56. Well, we did in fact hit our profit target here. And let's go ahead and just go over the performance. This is sort of our performance matrix. Thus far this year, it's been pretty good. We had a big mover and shaker that hit a 1-to-3 risk versus reward on WTI crude. That was a banger. And then we came right back with the Kiwi. The Kiwi hit too, so we started off 2-0 for the year. That's not too bad. Now remember, these things aren't going to go live for you every day. We still have several of these that are in play. You'll notice that the US 30, we scratched that first idea to enter a better trade location, one that's more advantageous to buy in this dip that I think that we may get a shot to get that on CPI. I'm certainly hopeful that we will. We've also got a trade idea out on a Bitcoin dip. I'm going to recap here in a second. And then we've also got one that we released today on the AussieCAD. So this Kiwi trade, still very much alive for a 1-to-2, 1-to-3, 1-to-4, something like that. But we hit 1-to-1 relatively easily, and we hit it on the NFP release. Now that's high-risk trading. We did have a tight stop loss down, so it did pay us off relatively well. My biggest gripe with the trade, I don't ever complain about winners. Take the money when it's there. But if in fact you get in a situation where a trade hasn't been elected and you're going into non-farm payrolls, you probably stay away from the trade just because it's a high-risk time to be trading. So always remember that, and I'll go over that stuff on live stream as well as we roll into 2024. But in any case, we did hit our 1-to-1 relatively easy. We've got other targets down here at 1-to-2, 1-to-3, 1-to-4. I'm sort of going to leave it up to you exactly how much money you want to take off of these trades. Now, to me, I would be looking towards 1-to-1 basis. That's what I do. That's what the initial risk is based on. So if I come in and say, listen, we're shooting for 2,000 pips like we are in our Bitcoin trade, then more than likely we're going to have probably that as a stop loss. Now, if in fact you're saying, well, 2,000 pips is a lot, I'd say, well, not really. If you're trading Bitcoin, it's $2,000, and if you take a percentage of 2,000 of a Bitcoin itself, it's not that much. You're not risking that much money on the trade. It's just a heck of a lot of pips. Now, there's a lot of different ways the Bitcoin USD or Bitcoin futures or Bitcoin CFDs are denominated. Be aware of how much money per pip you're trading. I can't really tell you that because I don't know which product you're going to target. Personally, this one was designed basically just to buy Bitcoin on the cash market, which really mirrors what this Bitcoin USD, this pair does. And you'll notice, like right now, for instance, we've got a 5 pip spread on our USD or something like this on our Bitcoin. So about a 5 pip spread isn't too shabby on this Bitcoin USD. Just be sure to dial in your risk. Be risk appropriate. This is something that our entry is right down there, right around 85,975, and we're going to take a good look at that in a second. Just sort of go over exactly what we need to go over there. Remember, if you want to trade any of these ideas, switch markets could be a nice place to land. We got all sorts of bonuses. This is our partner broker here, international. If you're in the United States, check out Oanda as well. We'll talk more about those. If you have questions about brokers or anything, go into the trading room, send me a PM, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Okay, this is the trade idea that we're talking about. Will NFP give us a chance to buy Bitcoin? We put this one out Friday, and at the time, we didn't really know what was going to happen to Bitcoin. I was thinking, well, I mean, Bitcoin is what it is. What can we really do with it? Well, we really wanted to get an opportunity potentially to buy a dip. This is a very bullish market. There's been a lot of talk, and I mean a lot of talk out of the new Trump administration saying that, hey, our imaginations can't even tell you how high Bitcoin's going to go. He made a comment the other day that Bitcoin might be used to pay off the national debt. Those are ridiculous. And always remember, when you're dealing with Trump, go back to The Art of the Deal, one of his first books. And he said, listen, setting lofty expectations is a pretty good policy because they want everybody thinking big. So when you can't, I mean, nobody's going to pay off the national debt with Bitcoin. When you can't deliver on that, you still deliver something pretty good. A person walks away happy saying, well, they did a lot of what they said they were going to do, but the expectations are just always a lot higher than what we could actually achieve. Now, I think that that's going to be interesting for Bitcoin because there's a lot of talk about Bitcoin going completely to the moon. Right now, we're right around 100,000. 100,000 set up is really nice topside resistance. So in this trade idea, we're looking to bid right there from about, 85,975, somewhere in there, right up around 38%. I want to get that bid. I think if we get an opportunity to bid right there, the profit target was up there right around 87.50. That's not much. That's not much. And if I was going to say, Shane, do you think that one of these trade ideas could hit a 1-3 or a 1-4? Boy, this one might be it. It really might be it because I don't see any market drivers aside from a hawkish Fed that could potentially drive Bitcoin really to madness. Now, we talked a lot about it last week, down there at 62%. I love it. I love it, 72,000. Everybody loves it right now at 72, but that's sort of a long-term type of an investment play. Type of investment play. So that would be something that I'm looking at relatively closely. I think that we may get it sooner rather than later. We're trading 91.9s. We only need about a 4,000 retracement. We could easily get that going into US CPI a little bit later this week. Okay, we had another trade idea that would drop today. We're not going to spend a tremendous amount of time on this one because it's a ways off. AussieCAD. Remember, during CPI releases, during big releases, it always helps to diversify your holdings. And the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar is a great way to do just that. So I always look at the AussieCAD. Essentially, they're two commodity pairs. It's gold against crude oil. Gold drives the Aussie. Crude oil drives the Canadian dollar. And right now, the Canadian dollar has been winning for about the last 3 months. Always remember that markets have memories. We always want to understand where our macro levels are and where potentially we can get involved with a little bit of meaning we can test a key level and maybe just get a little bit of friction, a little bit of support or resistance. We step in, we take the money out, and we walk on. I'm not really a huge position trader when it comes to macro levels like this until we get some confirmation, and we'll talk a lot about confirmation as the year drives on, so stay tuned. But right there, this yearly low, that was the trade idea that went out in the live analytics thread. 2024's low, 87.26. That could potentially be a nice area to bid, and we put that out as an 87.31. So remember, if you don't have the tools on the left-hand side of your screen and you can't click on the analytics thread and don't know where it is, I believe my picture should be on the top of everybody's screen. Click on that, follow me. These trade ideas go to your inbox each and every day. Something to think about. Automatically, we like the path of least resistance, But that's a pretty good trade idea that I'm looking at going into CPI. Remember, CPI is going to drive the US dollar crazy on Wednesday. It's going to drive it insane. It's going to drive equities. It's going to drive commodities. Indirectly, it will impact the AussieCAD, but not to the same degree that it's going to impact the dollar. I love diversification. Sometimes if we make a bet here, and here on things that aren't necessarily exactly correlated, then we've got a chance to spread our money out and not just lose if the USD rallies or not just lose if the USD falls. Very, very important that we understand that dynamic going into Wednesday. I'm excited. I think it's going to be a huge release. Last week's NFP was absolutely an epic print, and I'm looking for more fireworks on Wednesday, so be sure to join us live. Let me see. I got a good question right here. T. Marina, is it better to use the Bitcoin USD tether versus Bitcoin USD? Boy, honestly, T. Marina, I would have to punt that question away to a true crypto expert. I really would. To me, I tend to trade things that are denominated in US dollars, except for, say, cross pairs like this or exotics. I don't necessarily think that's the best way to do it. What I would recommend is each one of these markets definitely has a personality of its own. Whatever strategy you're using, maybe you take a look at it on the Bitcoin USD and then the Bitcoin USD tether. Is it the same? Is it different? I really don't know. I couldn't speak to it. Excuse me. It's a balmy 8 degrees here in Dillon, Montana. We're at about 5,500 feet above sea level, extremely dry. So we've been hitting the water relatively hard. So I'm sorry, T. Marina. A couple of rules on my streams. Number one, if I don't know the answer, I'm not going to sit here and BS you and waste your time. I really don't know the answer to that one. And number two, if it makes money, it is the right answer. And I guess a third rule is ask questions. It's cheaper than losing money. Believe me, I've been in these markets since 2010 and 2011. I've made plenty and I've lost plenty. And each one of your losses, you grow a little and you try to learn as much as you can from it. I'd rather you guys ask questions and lose money, because once you lose enough money, you got to pack it in. And everybody, in order to make money, you need to trade. And in order to trade, you need money. So don't lose your money. Ask questions. It's cheaper. All right, Monday Psychology today. Mondays are big. I've had an incredible planning session. One of those sessions that I'm really excited about because I haven't made any trades today, but I'm lined up and I got a pretty good game plan. I think rolling into Friday, I would be absolutely shocked to be in the negative by Friday. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm pretty confident about this week. I feel good. The liquidity's there. Everybody's there. It's ready to go. Game planning, always huge. Today, Monday Psychology. Here's my own personal Monday Psychology. You can take it and use it, or you can use your own, whatever you'd like to do. Primary objective, I want to get into the green as soon as possible. I want to trade with other people's money as soon as possible, and I don't want to take a big loss on a Monday. Absolutely won't do it. It can't happen. Number two, focus on analytics. Game plan the week ahead. I'm looking at macro levels. I'm looking at strategy setups. I'm looking at the key markets and also our key economic events. And lastly, I want to generate momentum. The hardest thing to do in the markets and in life is to generate momentum. But once you get it going, you can really reap the rewards. Now, as far as how do we generate momentum in the market, let's get it going. Don't be afraid to take smaller profits on a Monday. Don't be afraid to cut off those losing trades quicker than you normally would. The idea here is to get into the green as soon as possible, because we know the premium trading this week, I don't care what anybody on CNBC says. I don't care what Jim Cramer says. I don't care what Warren Buffett says. I don't care what any of them say. The best trading this week is Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Wednesday is going to be a blockbuster day. We're going to scalp that. We're going to scalp it live. We're doing a 10-minute trading blitz. Also, right around the U.S. Open on that day. I think that you're going to be able to take some good scalps that morning and feel pretty good about where you're at, as long as you don't let your losers get away from you. So right now, our job is to get into the green as quick as we can. We're not trying to hit 1 to 4, 1 to 5 payoffs today. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get into the green because I know tomorrow I've got a great shot at a profitable session, and then Wednesday we might take those 1 to 4, 1 to 5 shots. That's what this is all about, is just getting ahead, trading with someone else's money, and then just pounding at home and really trying to reach our financial objectives. We do that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday we're going to talk about No Donation Friday when Friday comes around. All right, as far as our schedule for this week, it's absolutely fantastic. California wildfires, unfortunately, we're going to talk about that in a minute because it's going to have an impact on the markets. There's no way that it won't. We're going to look at that. Tuesday's U.S. PPI, tomorrow's PPI. That's absolutely a huge keynote event You're going to want to know exactly what happens with that. That's during the U.S. pre-market. We'll cover that tomorrow during the stream. I'll preview it a little bit today. And also Wednesday's U.S. CPI. That's our headliner. That's our key event for the week. Thursday's retail sales. That's another biggie. We're going to be looking at retail sales closely because right now interest rates are going to stay high, it looks like. Employment levels are huge. If inflation's hot and retail sales are down or up, that's going to give us an idea if we're going into a recession or not. Friday, China GDP. We're going to cover it. Got to cover it. China GDP comes in during the U.S. overnight session, early Friday session here, early Friday Forex session, and then also it's going to be no donation Friday. We're going to count our money on Friday, and we're going to roll into next week feeling pretty good about ourselves. Let me see. Absolutely, T. Marina, you're welcome. Let me see, Irfan, I would like to take the AussieCAD low. What would be the best area to get involved? Yeah, it's all in that trade idea, Irfan. I was looking at an entry somewhere around 31. And then we're going to go ahead and risk about 40 pips on that trade. I fully expect that to stall out and then bounce and give us a little bit of an opportunity to get a payoff there. I think that's going to be a pretty good one. Okay, relatively quickly, the news of the day today was going to be our U.S. T-bills, 3-month auction. Your yields are up a little bit, and that's because we're expecting a hawkish Fed. Why would we be expecting a hawkish Fed? Because jobs numbers came in huge. And I mean, they came in huge. So if we're looking at the last week's NFP figure, saying, is the Fed going to cut rates? Are they going to raise rates? I would say, judging by that figure, they might raise rates. And I'm growing more and more confident that that's what's going to happen here. The California wildfires, though, I'm going to tell you why that's an outlier here in a second. Something like this, though, these bond yields are up. That means the U.S. government's trying to attract money because why? They're offering the big yields. They want to bring money in, offer you the yield on the payback. And also, what are they expecting? They're expecting those interest rates, that baseline federal funds rate, to stay higher for longer, and that's exactly what we're seeing. 3 month, 6 month. I don't think we get a Fed rate cut until at least July. Maybe not at all. That's a bold statement, I know. Okay, but that's really the news of the day today. Other than that, not a whole lot. Tomorrow, be ready for PPI. How does PPI impact the Forex? It's a producer price index. Essentially, it's an inflation measure. Remember, if it comes in low, it's going to be bearish for the USD. If it comes in higher than expected, it's going to be bullish for the USD. What does that do to stocks, commodities? If it's low, what does that mean? US dollar goes down, stocks go up, commodities go up. If it comes in high, US dollar is bullish. All right, US dollar goes up. What happens to stocks and commodities? They both go down, typically. Not immediately, but typically. And we're going to cover all that stuff for you. We're going to unpack the price action tomorrow after that drops. Here's what we expect. We expect PPI to come in basically unchanged. PPI year over year for DEES is going to come in significantly higher. But as far as what do we expect our figures to come in, unchanged. Boy, I'll tell you what, it's going to be relatively difficult. This is what I'm looking at, the raw index data. This right here is all the trend you need to know. You don't need to sit around watching Bloomberg. You don't need any of it. All you need to know is this. PPI is going up. Is it going to plateau and come down, or is it going to keep going up? It's an ugly situation. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a look at our gold market right now before we cover the little bit of wildfire talk. And then we're also going to look at WTI crude, which is the banger of the day. I mean, it's absolutely exploding, and it's a market that's on fire, literally, no pun intended at all. Brian Barbie, good to see you, Brian. Welcome back. Let me see. As far as gold goes, we have a trade idea out that essentially was going to be a sell beneath last month's low. I was relatively confident that we were going to get a basic washout. There's a tremendous number of retail longs that have bought this market realistically going back to last May, and they're just piling in. There was a washout right there in November, right after the election. There was a big pullback there because the election uncertainty sort of left the equation, and then we had an inside December. So take all of that stuff and put it in your mind. What's happening right now? The gold market is going absolutely sideways. It hasn't gone anywhere. So if you're trading trends, at least macro trends with gold, you're getting hurt. Now, if I'm in the gold market, there's a couple of things I'm looking at. Number one, we do have the trade idea, and that one came out last week. And go ahead and go through that market analytics thread if you have access. If not, I believe I'll probably be covering this one in the next few days, so don't panic. Essentially, it's a sell beneath last month's low, looking for a legitimate washout, potentially down to a Fibonacci retracement level such as this, something like that. I've been like harping on 80 buys, 85 buys, 84 buys for seemingly ever, and I don't think we're going to get it until we break this symmetry. This is a very ugly setup because the trend traders right now are getting hurt. The shorts are sort of living. The folks that are short up here have done pretty well, but they're living on a razor blade because once we break out, then we don't know how high gold's going. I wasn't an outspoken critic, but I really like 3,000 as a topside big round number. I don't know that we get that now. And the reason why is you're going to see, I'm not going to say that the wars around the world are going to end immediately once Trump gets into office, but you're going to see negotiations. The negotiations are going to be significant, and they're going to happen relatively quickly towards the beginning of February. That's what we've been told. That's what we've been reading in the mainstream media. It's also what we've been reading behind the scenes on social media. Some folks that are insiders that know. I expect Russia-Ukraine negotiations to begin in early February. I really do. If that is over, and you have hotter Fed policy, meaning hawkish Fed policy, higher interest rates, it all spells towards the bearish side of gold. Now, I want to buy dips so bad. I mean, this is one of those where you just got to sit on your hands because I want to buy dips. I believe that if we get a pullback there, we're going to be in great shape. Do I want to buy the market right now? No, I don't. I believe we're in full consolidation. I think if you go short, you could get hurt. If you go long, you can get hurt. We've got to see some sort of movement here this month. In the first 2 weeks, first 13 days of January, I mean, nothing's happened. And if nothing happens, then we're in big, big trouble here if we're trying to pick a direction. So we've got to wait for the market to commit. I'm waiting for the sell. I would love to sell that wash out beneath December's low. I think we're going to be rewarded on that. And then the opportunity to turn around and just buy the dip right from like 24.82.50, somewhere in there. I think that's a great opportunity. Now, as far as what we see on shorter time frames with gold, I know a lot of you trade this thing on extremely short time frames. It's tough. We did some Fibonacci trading using gold futures the other day that was relatively lucrative for us on a 5-minute chart. I would be looking at something like that. I think that if you're going to trade intraday on gold right now, be careful. Be very, very careful. You don't want to make a big mistake because the market is choppy. And look at this 30-minute chart. It really screams chop. Now, the trend is down. You're off about 1.24%. So if we were going to trade this going into the late day, could we make a trade? I would say, yeah. I mean, we can. It's a little bit higher risk. But what side of the market do you want to be on intraday now? If we're talking about intraday trading, not dailies, not weeklies, monthlies. If we're talking about basing a decision on a 30-minute chart alone, the way that I do it, Fibonacci's, I would be looking to join the prevailing trend. We're down about at 1.13%. My sell would be right up there at 26.62 1/4. That's the most current spike high to a spike low. What else could we be looking at, though? Well, we could go back to our 5.813 here. Let's put gold on it. What do we have here on a 30-minute time frame? Okay, we were definitely in overbought territory back on Friday. That doesn't really count for right now. Now we're definitely in oversold territory. We've been sort of camping out beneath that 30 level on our RSI. That tells us that we're looking for a buy. So right here, at least on the 30-minute time frame, we're looking to get a buy signal. When will that develop? When the 5 crosses over the 8 and price gets established above all 3 moving averages. So I'm watching this one closely. I think we may have an opportunity here. Let's back off to a 4-hour chart, though. What do we have here? Potential sell setting up realistically. I mean, you're already short the market. Right there, you're in overbought territory. Compression, break. Where would your sell have been? Crossover occurred right there on the close of that 4-hour bar. Your sell would have been right there. So our other indicators are telling us to be short. That sort of really complements what we just went over with our Fibonacci market structure stuff. There's your sell. Okay, well, we didn't get that sell. Now what can we really do? It's tough. It's tough. We sort of missed it. Could have got it, maybe. Let's go to a 5-minute chart and see what's happening right now. Not the best time to be trading 5-minute charts for gold, admittedly. Things are going to slow down in a big, big way this afternoon. Right there was sort of an oversold territory. Potentially, you got lucky there. The 5 didn't cross the 8, so you sort of stayed out of trouble. That's what these strategies are all about. You entered oversold territory again right here. So you were looking for a bid. There would have been your bid. 5 crosses over the 8. Price is established above the 13. There would have been your bid. You got a pretty nice move. So what are we looking to do now? Nothing. We've got to see this RSI get outside of our oversold or overbought territory parameters. It's got to go under 30 or over 70, or we can't buy or sell it. I'm watching that one relatively closely. I think it's a fascinating dynamic, one that I'm interested in very, very much. For me, it's going to be a fascinating session tomorrow. That's a massive move on your 4-hour chart. Let's go ahead and back off to some Fibonacci's here. You see right there, we didn't quite get our shot to join the south side of this party. Looks like it's going to be pretty choppy the rest of the way. Let's go to our daily, though. Maybe we can get a better level here on our daily. Is there a support zone we could potentially buy? Well, spike low right there. Nice hammer formation. Spike high. What do you got? Something like that. Yeah, something right there. I don't trade 50%. I like my golden zone though. Right there, back into the golden zone, 26.46. Yes, please. We have no problem bidding that. At least I don't. Something to think about there. Definitely. Gold is on the move, though. Gold is on the move. If you got short, great. If you're not short, probably stay off of selling late unless we get a big retracement, like into your 30-minute range, your daily range. For me right now, I'm on the sidelines. I want a high probability trade on gold to start the week going into CPI. The bid, that bid right there is probably going to set up for CPI, potentially a trade idea for tomorrow. So keep your eyes out on your trading feed. A couple other things we have to cover that's not real great, but we got to cover it because potentially I could see a major issue here setting up in the insurance markets. This is going to be probably one of the biggest financial disasters, I believe, of all time. I think that these wildfires in LA, there's no question that it's an incredible disaster. It's a horrible disaster, but it's not close to stopping. There's no end in sight. These fires aren't contained. They're talking about the wind coming up again tomorrow and the next day in a big way. The Santa Anas, if you're in that region, thoughts and prayers go out to you. It's an incredibly difficult situation. What does this mean financially? It's going to be one of the biggest. This will be one of the biggest financial disasters of all time. And the price tag, I've already heard 60 billion, 70 billion flying around. If in fact these fires if it doesn't rain or it doesn't do something to slow them down, you're going to see huge. Look at that. California wildfires, staggering $275 billion loss. Do you see what I mean? The other day the loss was 60 billion. Then when it was 100, now we're floating numbers out there, 275 billion. That money all has to come from somewhere. Where does it come from? It comes from insurance companies. Insurance companies are going to have to cover the losses, as is the U.S. government. Now, the AI overview, you just go into Google here and you run, where do insurance companies get their money, store their money? Insurance companies invest premiums in financial markets. That's us. They invest money in financial markets to generate income and ensure they have enough funds to pay claims. So what happens when an insurance company has to spit out $100 billion? Couple of things. Number one, they turn to the government for help. Say, you got to bail us out or we're going to fail. Or number two, they have to start liquidating everything. Expect liquidations from your insurance companies. They're going to have to liquidate assets, and a big part of that is going to mean what? It's going to mean selling things like stocks, things like mutual funds, maybe even crypto. They could be selling crypto. This is going to throw a major monkey wrench into what we're trying to get accomplished with reading the market earlier this year. Don't underestimate the power of those fires to drag markets. So if I'm looking at, say, the US 30, and we had a great comment right there off the way. Ben Kitchen, good to see you. How about the 5813 for swing trading? Absolutely, that can work. Sorry, I missed a lot of questions. Laudable said, great time to buy. And I said, well, you're not wrong. We have a trade idea out that's a bid from the go back into this monthly golden zone on the US 30. I fully expect this dip to get bid, but I will say this. I am starting to believe the top for the year may be in. Not this year. Well, this swing high, you know what I mean. The top, we could rotate up in here, but I'm starting to believe that 45,000 level may be the top of this thing in the US 30 for the immediate future, maybe 2025. I think that it's very possible. Those wildfires are going to place an incredible amount of pressure on mutual funds. Also, banks, keep an eye on regional banks. There's going to be a lot of withdrawals. Assets, long-term assets are going to have to be converted into shorter-term liquidities. That means somebody takes a haircut. Be ready for the downsides of these markets. I hear a lot about rebuilding. You got to put the fires out first. This is a big problem and something that we're going to be watching relatively closely. Can it single-handedly crash the markets? No, but it can put downward pressure on them for an extended period of time. I'm watching the dips. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at U.S. tech, and then we're going to go ahead and sign off here. This is fascinating stuff. We had some actions out of the Biden administration last week that really was cracking down on chips, the exportation of chips for AI. I don't know what it's all about. Nobody really does. It's just the last days of a presidency a presidency that's getting ready to turn over the reins to a new administration. That's all. A lot of action. A lot of these things can be, really taken back right away with the new administration. I expect a lot of it. US 100, it's coming into our happy zone. I'm still bullish, but I do believe there's a decent shot that our top's in. I think that if we're going to get a top side out of any of the equities indices, the US 30, the S&P 500, or US tech, I would look for the top side of US tech or US tech to weather the storm a little better. Why? Because of the AI boom. the investment into the power sources for AI, to fuel AI, and we've seen it come across the board with nuclear, Google talking nuclear, Amazon talking nuclear, all these folks, as soon as they get the energy and the conductors, the AI boom will take off. I think that the US 100 is going to weather the storm better than the traditional, than the other large caps of the US 30 and the US 500. I want to bid this thing. So if we do get an opportunity to pull back to this key level, 2272, right now we're printing 2736. Pretty good stuff. I love these equities levels until we go into Wednesday when CPI comes out. Then it's all bets are off, and we have to make decisions on much shorter time frames. Something to think about there. All right, Hurst Horns, what time frame for scalping with EMAs? I personally, with Forex pairs, I like the 30-minute and the 4-hour chart. However, we did a 10-minute strategy blitz last week where we trade the crossover strategy on a 15-second NASDAQ chart. Know what you're trading. If you have a highly volatile and liquid market like the NASDAQ or like, say, the US 30 or some futures potentially, then you can put it on real short time frames. You can do it. Watch your stops. Watch your risk versus reward. That's what's going to make you successful. I don't care what the time frame is. I don't care what the market is. Your risk reward and where your stop loss locations are is pretty much what's going to carry you through the hard times trading crossover strategies. They're not necessarily infallible, but they are pretty good. They can be pretty good. And let's just check in on our EURUSD 30-minute chart. Not bad. This crossover is still doing very well. 5813. Not too bad. And to answer your question, Ben, yeah, you can use it for swing trading if you want. You just back that time frame off potentially to a 4-hour, which you can see. I mean, this is pretty good stuff right here. This could be a decent turning point for the EURUSD. We're in oversold territory there, 4-hour chart. If, in fact, you get that 5 to cross over the 8, and then you get the price established above all three of them, then you just send them. You send them, that's for sure. Micros on the NAS is preferred, yeah, if you're going to trade with legitimate legitimate leverage. I would go with the micros, the micro NASDAQ, because the ranges are so huge. You have to really pledge a lot of money. But we traded the full size event. We may trade the micros this week. I don't know. Wednesday, 10-minute market blitz. It's in the trading room or over on Forex Signals TV on YouTube. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and sign off for now. We got a big week tomorrow. We're going to trade the PPI fallout. I'm going to break down the PPI for you. Then we're going to take a look at a few of these strategies, see where price action is. And then Saturday. Wednesday's the big day. CPI Live. We'll have that live for you, 8:20 a.m. Eastern. I'll be on. We're going to give you our expectations, our analytics, and then we're going to look to scalp the thing. And then we're also going to do a 10-minute strategy blitz a little bit later on Wednesday, right after that U.S. Open. We're going to come back. We're going to put 10 minutes on the clock and see how many ticks we can make. We did pretty well last Friday. We'll see how we do this week. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Let's see. We got one last comment. I'm surprised you're not using a longer EMA as well to complement the faster ones. The 13 EMA is my favorite. 5813, the 13 is my personal EMA of choice. We do use the 920 though. We also go to Golden Cross and Death Cross 5200s. There's a lot of different ways to do it. More than one way to skin a cat. All right, everybody. If you're in the Los Angeles Valley and in California, thoughts and prayers. Difficult situation. All the best to you and your families. We will get through this. We always do as a nation and as a world. Seemingly whatever comes up, we work through it. So one way or another, we're going to see exactly how this goes. With a bit of luck, we'll get some rain and the winds will die down. That's a wrap, everybody. All right, trade the action well, and we'll talk soon. See ya.